الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إنه تعالى جل عن الشبيه والمثيل والند والنظير ثم نشهد أن سيدنا وسندنا ونبينا وحبيبنا وداعينا ومرشدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله صفيه وخليله صلى الله تبارك وتعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون وقال تعالى يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما صدق الله العظيم أيها المسلمون عليكم بالصدق فإن الصدق ينجي والكذب يهلك وعليكم بالإحسان فإن الله يحب المحسنين ولا تقنطوا من رحمة الله فتكونوا من الخاسرين ألا وإن نفسا لن تموت حتى تستكمل رزقها فاتقوا الله وأجملوا في الطلب وتوكلوا عليه فإن الله يحب المتوكلين وادعوه فإن ربكم مجيب الداعين واستغفروه يمددكم بأموال وبنين. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, first and foremost, as always, we begin by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, acknowledging He is our master and our creator, and we begin by sending blessings and salutations upon the noblest and greatest of all of the creation of Allah, our Habib, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, all of his companions and all of his followers until the end of times. As we enjoy the moment of the new year, the holiday of the new year, we can let us not forget all of our brothers and sisters in the world who are being persecuted throughout the world, right? And the only reason they are being persecuted is because they are Muslim and they say La ilaha illallah and they believe in one Allah, right? Usually the New Year is a moment of happiness, it's a moment of reflection for us, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He tells us that He created everything and He always gave, within each thing that He created, He gave one creation of His preference, right? And so the concept of time is similar to this as well as the other creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? وَرَبُّكَ يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيَخْتَارُ. The Quran says, Allah created, your Lord creates, and He always prefers one of His creation over all, right? Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the greatest of all creation. He's preferred over all. The prophets were preferred over others, right? Even within the months, we have some certain months that have more blessing and are greater in reward for actions that you do in those months than others, right? وَرَبُّكَ يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيَخْتَارُ. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created time. He gave certain time more preference, right? I'm not talking about the New Year. It has Islamically no preference. But the idea behind having time and months and years is so that we can, in certain times, we become empowered, right? We make goals. We start again. We have new beginnings, right? This is the idea behind the calendar, right? That every calendar, you see this, right? Throughout the world, you'll see people making New Year's resolutions, and they have all of these goals, right? My professional goal is to have this, this, and this, right? To get a promotion in work, to make sure I increase my investments, to make sure I open a 401k, whatever our goals are professionally. We have goals, for personally, we want to get married, we want to have kids, we want to buy a house or a car, whatever it is. All of us here, we have goals, right? There's an article on WB&G's website that local businesses, local gyms are very happy this time of the year. Why? Because there's an uptick, a huge uptick in subscribers, right? And this is what people do. One of the biggest goals is they want to get in shape, they want to exercise, they want to make a big life change, right? And we learn, one of the etiquettes that we learn about making a goal, right, is, one of the etiquettes is that we make a goal for small, gradual changes, right? Our Prophet ﷺ, how he trained the Sahaba and completely change them, wasn't that he came in overnight and said, you have to stop doing all of these things and you have to start doing all of these things. No, right? A big change, it doesn't have everlasting results, right? It dies away. Many people after a week or even in the fourth day, what happens is they stop going to the gym afterwards, right? And it's something that we hear all the time. We make so many different New Year's resolutions and New Year's goals, and what happens after a little while? 2-3 days down the road, 1 week down the road, they fizzle out. We stop doing them, right? Our Prophet ﷺ, the way he changed our Sahaba was that he changed them gradually, right? It wasn't overnight that he told them, now you have to start doing all the fara'id of Islam, and this is all the prohibitions. No. Our Islam came over a period of 23 years, right? Our Sahaba, they learned the Sharia from our Prophet ﷺ, they learned the Quran over a period of 23 years. Right? Revelation came for 23 years. Each and every day a new commandment came. And the Sahaba learned that one new commandment, they mastered it, right? They put it into their being, right? They made it a part of their lifestyle, right? The commandment came, it became part of their lifestyle. It became natural to them. And then the next commandment came. And then the next commandment came, right? We want to make everlasting changes in our life. We follow this example of our Prophet ﷺ, right? Where the example of alcohol came, right? Just one example of alcohol. First, the commandment came is that alcohol is disliked. You should stay away from it, right? Then the commandment came is لا تقربوا الصلاة وأنتم سكارى, right? Don't go near alcohol when you are, don't go near prayer when you are intoxicated. Meaning that it's haram to pray while intoxicating. And then after that, the next commandment came, إِنَّمَا الْخَمْرُ وَالْمَيْسِرُ رِجْسٌ مِّنْ عَمَلِ الشَّيْطَانِ, right? It's from the evils of shaitan. It's one of the worst things. And then the hadith says that you would see every Sahabi, what they would do is they would take all the barrels of alcohol that they had and the wine that they had, and they poured it out in front of their house. And the streets of Medina were lined with all alcohol and wine because people were throwing everything out. How could this change happen? Right? It happened because the Prophet ﷺ made gradual changes in the Sahaba's lives, right? When we set a goal for ourselves, it's gradual changes, right? We know the famous dua of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. What is this? Dua رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي أشدد به أزري. Right? This is the dua of Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam, he receives a revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's given a command, اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى. Go to Fir'aun and tell him he's crossed all limits, right? Fir'aun, there is a special word in the Quran called طغيان. It's used just for Fir'aun, right? He was the most arrogant of people, right? He was the one who considered himself Rabbukum al-A'la, the greatest Lord. He made people, worship him, and he would kill people just for the fun of it, right? It was an afternoon for him, right? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, go to Fir'aun. Your mission is to go to Fir'aun, tell him what he is doing is wrong, and invite him to worship on Allah. And so Musa alayhi salam, what does he do? He makes a dua. Oh Allah, Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa hlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. It's a very famous dua. Oh Allah, open my chest for me, right? Remove my anxiety for me. Wa yassir li amri, and make my matter easy for me. Wa hlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli, and remove the knot in my tongue so that they can understand what I'm saying, right? And this is a reference to the stutter that Musa alayhi salam had, right? We have a hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam where the Sahaba were sitting down and the Prophet was sitting down in the masjid, and his two grandchildren, Hassan and Hussein, they come in to the masjid. And Hassan is very eloquent. He speaks very clearly and very eloquent, and he's maybe 4 or 5 years old at this time. And his little brother Hussein, who was only a year younger, he had a stutter. And so Hussein comes into the masjid, he's running into the masjid, he runs into the lap of our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he starts telling his story to our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But because he has a stutter, it takes him a very, very long time to tell the story. The Sahaba start looking around, they start feeling sad for the boy, right? He's trying to say a sentence, it takes him a minute to just say one sentence, right? They start feeling sad for him, and there's an awkward look on their faces of the Sahaba. The Prophet senses it. So what does he say? He says, don't feel sorry for my grandson. He inherited this from his uncle Musa, right? It means he inherited it from his uncle Musa. The prophets are all brothers, right? And so this is the establishment that we have that remove the knot in my tongue, meaning that remove my stutter for me. But what do we learn? The scholars say, very beautiful point, they say the etiquette of making dua, right, is that first you ask Allah to give you the ability to do something, make it easy for you, but then you ask for every single step on the way too, right? You want a new job, right? Alhamdulillah. You don't ask Allah, Allah give me a new job. That's the first dua only. That's the first dua. Then it's, oh Allah, allow me to have an amazing resume. Oh Allah, allow me to go and spend hours not wasting my time and actually applying to jobs. Oh Allah, allow me to get many interviews and allow me to be prepared in those interviews and allow me to have a good interview, right? So you have a process. And all of the process, the whole process requires our du'as. This is the exact same thing with setting a goal. We set a large goal, yes, we want to, we want to solve all the problems of the world, right? We want global peace and we want this, whatever goals that we have. We aim for high goals. But our Sharia tells us that the way we become successful in achieving a high goal is we break it down into small goals and make gradual changes in our life, right? We break it down to small goals and make gradual changes, right? And this is something that we can, this should be our goal, right? Usually they say that the New Year's is time for professional goals, right? I will tell you no. New Year's is a time for us to renew our spiritual goals, our goals with Allah Subhanahu wa Taala as well, right? It should be our goal to fast a certain amount of days this year. It should be our goal to finish a certain amount of Quran that we can, right? To take an online class and listen to more Islamic lectures. It should be our goal to spend more time at the masjid or to teach our kids extra about Islam. Spiritual goals are the things that bring us closer to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, right? No matter what other goals that we have in life, which are good, we should have those goals. But the only goals that matter before Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is the goals that we have spiritually, right? The goals that we try to fulfill and complete for the sake of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. But going back to my original point, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, He says, وَرَبُّكَ يَخْلُقُ مَا يَشَاءُ وَيَخْتَارُ. Allah created everything, and He always gave certain things preference, right? So we have certain times of the year which are more preferred over other times. In Islam, our most preferred times are what? The times of Ramadan and the times of Dhul Hijjah, right? The two most preferred times, right? And then even in the Gregorian calendar, the reason why we have the holidays and stuff is for us to renew our intentions, to renew our goals. But like I mentioned, we have many goals. Our goals should be spiritual. But let us not forget all of the pain and the suffering that's happening throughout the world, right? Let's not forget our brothers and sisters throughout the whole entire world, right? It's only 4 days in. Do you know what was trending today? The number one search term this morning was World War III. Subhanallah, right? World War III is the number one search term, the most tweeted term, and the most used Facebook term today this morning. Subhanallah, right? It gives you shivers to think that this could happen. It could be a reality. Who knows, right? We pray for peace throughout the world. But nonetheless, this is the sad reality is that we hear sad things throughout the world. We hear sad news each and every single day. We hear sad news each and every single day throughout the day, right? We always are hearing about bad things happening to people and bad news. Each day there's a different school shooting happening. In 2019, if you look at it, each single day there was a school shooting that happened. A mass school shooting, meaning more than 2 people passed away. It's a very sad reality, right? We look at the news and you're always, every single day the news is about shootings and murder and so many other bad things that are happening, right? Our Prophet ﷺ, he tells us one thing. He says that, كَانَ يُعْجِبُهُ التَّفَاؤُلُ. The hadith says the Prophet ﷺ loves positivity. One thing that we can learn from 2020 is that one of the goals that we should have, spiritual goals, is that we have people who have yaqeen, right? That they have true yaqeen, belief in the will of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, in the qadr of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, and in the decree and destiny of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. We, as a believer, right? Our Prophet tells us that the Prophet warned us against. He encouraged what he calls tafa'ul. Tafa'ul is positivity, right? Optimism, and he encouraged or discouraged tasha'um, negativity, right? He encouraged pessimism. He encouraged skepticism. He discouraged negativity and pessimism. He discouraged skepticism, right? The Prophet ﷺ, he always was a person who was very happy and positive. We want one of our goals, for 2020, should be that we should try to follow this quality of our Prophet ﷺ, right? He would always love when people were happy with him, and he would find ways to make himself happy. He would try to find ways to become cheerful, right? And anytime difficulty happened, he would flip it and look at it from a different perspective. He would always look at it from a different perspective, right? There's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that one time the Prophet ﷺ and Abu Bakr were traveling during the hijrah. And as they were traveling, there were people looking for them who want to kill them, right? And it's a very, very tense mood between him and Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they're walking, the enemy is literally behind them. And our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he comes into the valley, right? And he sees that there's a huge valley there. And so he asked Abu Bakr, and Abu Bakr radiallahu, by the way, he was a master of all of genealogy. He knew where each location was and who owned each land, and he knew how each clan was related to each other, right? He was a master of genealogy. So he points to, and the Prophet ﷺ, whenever a guest would come, the Prophet ﷺ would first go to Abu Bakr and say, okay, who is this man? How is he related? You know, what tribe is he from? You know, and who is his father? Because Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu knew every person, he knew all of their family lineage. He could trace every person's lineage back all the way to their great-great-grandfathers, right? And so he comes to Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he turns to him and says, this valley, who does it belong to? And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu says, this valley belongs to Banu Aslam. It belongs to the tribe of Aslam. And Aslam means safety, right? We have the word Assalamu alaikum. It comes from it, right? So it belongs to the tribe of Aslam. It belongs to Banu Aslam. And the Prophet right away, he says, you know, this is a sign that maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant us safety as well, even though we're being chased by our enemy. Right? He would take every moment that he has in his, and he would try to turn it into a moment of positivity. And he would dislike negativity, right? If you look up the definition of positivity, positivity is an intrinsic value that you have in yourself to look at the bright side of things, even though they may not seem that way. And if you look at the dictionary and journals, they actually discourage positivity. In Islam, we encourage positivity, right? But journals will tell you that being a positive person is actually negative. Why? Because people take advantage of you. You become naive. You think that nothing bad is happening in the world because you're always a positive person. No. In Islam, we say no. What does positivity in Islam mean? Positive in Islam means that when something bad happens, right, we are content with the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? We have this concept in Islam called husnul dhanni billah, that we must think good of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala all the time, right? Husnul dhann billah. One of our commandments in our hadith is that we always think good of our believer, and we always think good of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? We make excuses for our believer. We find out someone did something negative or something wrong or something haram, we make excuses for that person, right? We don't backbite them, we don't bash them, we don't talk negative about them, right? We don't talk ill about them. Rather, we make excuses about them first. We say maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put him through some difficulty. Maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you know, maybe he was going through some difficult time. Maybe he was having a struggle, right? Maybe he didn't know what he was doing. Maybe, you know, he lost his mind or something. But we make excuses for that person, right? Because why? We have to have husnul dhann, a good thought about another person, right? A good thinking about the other person, a good belief about the other person. But we have the same requirement with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as well. Husnul dhanni billah. That we have a good thought about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have a good thinking about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? And so our thinking about Allah is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is perfect, His decision is perfect, everything He does is not void of wisdom, right? It's full of wisdom. And so when something bad happens, there's a contentment inside a believer. There's a happiness and positivity inside a believer that even though Allah put me through this, I know I'm going to come out, you know, safe. I know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take care of me. Even though I may be feeling this difficulty, right? I don't doubt myself. I don't doubt, you know, all of us here, we go through moments of darkness where we feel the world around us is dark. And, you know, there is no light at the end of the tunnel. And darkness becomes darkness upon darkness, right? It happens for all of us. But we are told that the prophets also had these same exact difficulties, right? We look at the story of Ayyub alayhi salam. He lost all of his wealth. He lost all of his family. His children passed away, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called this a test for him, right? And he had a skin disease. No one wanted to see him, right? Like he would be by himself. He was bedridden for years by himself. No one wanted to visit him, talk to him, see him. And he lost all of his wealth. He lost his children. Look at the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, right? That when he was rescued from that well, he didn't even want to go back to his brothers because he was afraid that he was going to lose them. He would rather live his life in slavery, right? These were the problems that our prophets faced, right? Musa alayhi salam, he comes to the river, and Pharaoh is behind him. And the people of Pharaoh, or the army of Pharaoh is watching, and it's getting closer and closer. And what happens is their backs are against the river. And Bani Israel is crying out to Musa alayhi salam, look, our Lord has forsaken us. We're going to get, you know, caught by Pharaoh. And Musa alayhi salam's iman is what? Kalla, inna ma'iya rabbi sayahdi. No, our Lord is going to figure out a way somehow, right? We think to ourselves we have no way out. We think about the Muslims throughout the world, the Muslims in Burma, the Muslims in Rohingya, but they have no way out, right? They have the same feeling that Musa alayhi salam's people had, right? They're thinking we're going to get caught by our enemy and we're going to be tortured, etc. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a way. Inna ma'iya rabbi sayahdeen. Our Lord is with us and He's going to guide us. He's going to take care of us. And even if He doesn't, it's the wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we don't understand, right? We don't become people of doubt, right? We become people of positivity, people of optimism, people who are always content with the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us people who have a wonderful, prosperous, a 2020 that is full of blessing, right? May Allah allow us to be successful in our goals, but the only way we do that is that we have goals that are small, gradual changes in our life, right? We make gradual changes in our life, right? Our goal should be that we come to the masjid at least once a week beside the Jama'ah, and then later on it increases to twice a week, thrice a week, 4 times a week. We say this in Ramadan every year, right? Ramadan, you don't begin Ramadan right away, start, praying extra rak'ah. You're going to, fizzle out eventually. You have to build up and start preparing for Ramadan months in advance, right? Months in advance you start preparing for Ramadan. You start fasting extra, you're making extra ibadah, you stay up later, you wake up earlier for Fajr and pray tahajjud prayer. Why? Because it gets you in the mode of Ramadan, right? Because Ramadan is not, if it becomes a dramatic change for us in our life, it becomes hard for us to sustain our ibadah. And many of us, we always fall through this trap, right? At the beginning, we do some ibadah, we have a goal, we're going to finish the Quran in Ramadan. And what happens? In the middle, we stop reading the Quran. And in the last 10 days, we start to catch up as much as we can. And we always end up falling short, right? We change our goals maybe 5 times in Ramadan. That happens to us, right? But we want to be people of gradual change. We want to be people that have everlasting change, right? And the way we do it is we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help in each and every single endeavor of ours to achieve our long-term goals. So we have a long-term goal, a large goal, and then we break it down into smaller goals. And let us be people of positivity, people of optimism. In today's world, it is a sad reality that in today's world, every single day we hear bad news. Every single day we are people, we go through sadness maybe 5-6 times a day, depression 5-6 times a day because of the news that we're hearing, right? I mentioned this at the beginning or in the middle of my khutbah, right? Today's #1 trending term online is World War III. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that, right? But we don't want this to be reality, but this is what it is, right? Every day we hear sadness and sad news upon sad news upon sad news, right? Our goal, we're content with the decree of Allah. We are people of positivity, people of happiness, right? Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam tells us in Ajaban amr al-mu'min inna amrahu kulluhu khair, right? That the believer, everything is good about him. Why? Because when bad things happen to him, he has patience and he gets reward. And when good things happen to him, he also thanks Allah and he gets reward. And so he's getting reward no matter what, right? He's getting good no matter what, right? And this is the idea that we are happy because we're always getting good from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even though it may not seem like it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to be people of positivity, optimism, have a wonderful 2020, and also be people who achieve their goals. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم. صلى على رسوله الكريم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا ايها الذين امنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما وقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من صلى عليه واحده صلى الله عليه بها 10 اللهم صل على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد اللهم اعز الاسلام والمسلمين واذل الشرك والمشركين ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنه وفي الاخره حسنه وقنا عذاب النار عباد الله رحمكم الله ان الله يامر بالعدل والاحسان وايتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا اله الا الله استغفر استقيموا واعتدلوا يسرين براسه شيء يوصل عن يسفض التقاعد. الله الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله 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 الله. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله 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 الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.